Here are today's headlines. The Department of Justice prepares to review the decision of the Securities and Exchange Commission to revoke Rappler's license. A draft chapter proposes the creation of 5 Philippine states under a federal government. Malaysia orders the death of 9 Filipinos and the acquittal of 13 others involved in the Sabah standoff in 2013. And a bishop calls for prayers as Mayon volcano continues to show unrest. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Department of Justice is set to review the decision to revoke the license of online news site Rappler. The DOJ is expected to look into all possible liabilities of Rappler's management. Here is our report.
Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II ordered the review of the Securities and Exchange Commission's decision revoking the Certificate of Incorporation of online news website Rappler for violating foreign ownership restrictions on mass media. Aguirre said the DOJ probe would cover possible criminal liabilities of executives of the online media entity. In a decision issued Monday, the SEC canceled the registration of Rappler Incorporated and Rappler Holdings Corporation being its alter ego. It cited foreign equity restrictions in the Constitution that provide that the ownership and management of mass media shall be limited to Filipinos or Filipino-owned corporations or associations. The SEC en banc also declared Philippine Depository Receipts or PDRs issued to Omidyar void for being a fraudulent transaction. In October 2015, Rappler Holdings Corporation issued PDRs covering shares of Rappler Incorporated to Omidyar Network Fund LLC, a foreign juridical entity. The body conducted its investigation upon the request of the Office of the Solicitor General in December 2016. In a statement, Solicitor General Jose Calida lauded the SEC's move, stating that this shows that even influential media outfits cannot skirt the restrictions set forth in the Constitution. He said Rappler is free to seek legal remedy, noting that his office is ready to defend the SEC ruling in any forum. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Philane Cervantes.
President Rodrigo Duterte castigated Rappler for what he called abuses on the privilege given to them by the government in the guise of press freedom. In an interview by the media after an event Tuesday, Rappler reporter Pia Ranada asked President Duterte about his earlier statement that the Duterte administration has nothing to do with the decision of the Securities and Exchange Commission revoking the license to operate the online news site. This obviously pissed Duterte, readily presented Rappler's latest story, accusing Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo of allegedly trying to influence the multi-million-dollar purchase of frigates by the Philippine Navy.
Let me give you an example. Huwag na tayo lumayo. Your inquisitive mind goes beyond its normal proportions. Boom, ayun na. You know, I'll just tingnan ninyo yung a daily dose of your medicine. Bongo intervenes in the 15 billion. Who gave you idea he can intervene? Where is his signature? Where is your statement? And where is your even a point of reference? Dumadata, ang dami na talaga sa akin. But look at, alam mo, hindi ako mag-ibang pero bilyonaryo to. Sa totoo lang. Putakin na ba? Tanongin niyo kung sino yan. Uy, ito mga ganito. It seems to appear na intervening because of what? Money? The things that you are telling it never happened. Find a way na masabi ka nagtotoo, nag-intervene kami. I'll give it to you. And if you can find, I will ask Bong to resign tomorrow. Work on it tonight. Let me know tomorrow and I will fire him. If he did intervene, even for one word.
The president said Rappler has long been throwing unfounded accusations against his administration, and that they have to eventually be responsible for their, and I quote, garbage stories.
Tingnan ninyo yung mga artikel ninyo. Maligaya kayo yung gawain nyo sa kapwa-tao ninyo yan araw-araw. just because you have the power of press freedom. The issue here is not press freedom. The way your masters, the elite, yung may-ari niyan, and you are not even constitutionally allowed to go into the media.
On the SEC decision, Duterte said Rappler has simply violated the Constitution and SEC simply performed its duty without any influence from Malacanang.
You are funded by foreign money. Are you not ashamed of that? No. Nandyan sa newspaper, hindi voting, hindi mo naintindihan ang corporation law mo. I'm not saying that they are investors, but their share as non-voting. But it does not say voting. The law does not say that. It is in the investment. Ano ka man. Whether your share votes or not, that is immaterial. You have the money and that yung Rappler mo was being funded by a foreigner. And you had the goal to attack people using foreign money.
The Diocese of Legazpi urged the faithful to pray the Oratio Imperata for the deliverance from calamity amid the looming eruption of Mayon volcano. Father Rex Paul Arjona, Diocese of Legazpi Social Action Director, said the spiritual intervention of the people is important at this moment. He noted that they have requested local radio stations to air the mandatory prayer, which is now being played almost every 30 minutes. Arjona added that the regular airing of the prayer helps uplift the spirits of the people. The Oratio Imperata is an obligatory prayer issued by the local diocese during situations of grave need or in times of calamity. On the other hand, Legazpi Bishop Joel Bailon appealed to the faithful to stay calm in the midst of the threat of a volcanic eruption. The Catholic prelate also urged the public to strictly follow the advisories of government authorities. Over 12,000 residents have fled to evacuation centers while Mayon volcano remains under alert level 3. 3 public hearings will be held in Mindanao in connection with the conduct of the May 14, 2018 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan polls. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has set the third leg in the series of public hearings in the region this month. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said the consultations to be held in different parts of Mindanao are meant to determine whether or not the election should be postponed in Mindanao. He said they intend to verify that the conditions for free and fair elections are present in spite of the persistence of martial law there. Based on the Omnibus Election Code, the Commission may postpone the holding of elections due to violence, terrorism, loss or destruction of election paraphernalia, and other causes. Congress approved the request of President Duterte to extend martial law in Mindanao until December 31, 2018. The Commission and Bank had ordered the postponement of the barangay and SK polls due to the imposition of military rule in the region until December 31, 2017 at the time. The Basis Conversion Development Authority, or BCDA, has remitted 5.22 billion pesos to the Bureau of Treasury in 2017. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the BCDA remittance was the highest amount generated since 2012. The BCDA will allocate 4.8 billion pesos to the Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program and other beneficiary agencies. Roque said the BCDA also raised 36.6 billion pesos for the purchase of military equipment and maintenance of facilities. The BCDA is a government-owned and controlled corporation under the Office of the President. Some of its major projects include Bonifacio Global City, New Clark City, Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway, and Newport City at the Villamor Air Base. Meanwhile, the BCDA and China Development Bank signed a memorandum of understanding that it will establish financing cooperation worth $4.5 billion to speed up implementation of major infrastructure projects. Among those that will benefit from the financing cooperation are the New Clark City, the Subic-Clark Railway Project, and the BGC Naiya Makati Bus Rapid Transit. The Board of Investments eyes to increase investment approvals for 2018 by around 10% from pledges in 2017. Trade Undersecretary and BOI Managing Head Seferino Rodolfo said the agency targets to approve a total of 680 billion pesos worth of investment pledges this year. Rodolfo said the BOI expects that the country will attract more investments in manufacturing given the robust gross domestic product driven by strong domestic consumption. The BOI also sees huge potentials for investments in construction backed by the planned infrastructure projects of the government. The BOI recorded its highest investment approvals for the past 50 years in 2017, increasing by 39.5% from 442 billion peso pledges in 2016. Highest commitments in 2017 were recorded in sectors of power and energy, infrastructure and public-private partnership projects, manufacturing, as well as real estate and mass housing. Majority of approved investments are from domestic sources, sharing 80% or more of the total pledges. Still to come, Malaysia orders the death of 9 Filipinos and the acquittal of 13 others involved in the Sabah standoff in 2013. Heavy rains leave 7 people dead in parts of eastern Visayas. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
There is an article that says so, which is Article 16, Section 11 of the Constitution, which reads, the ownership and management of mass media shall be limited to citizens of the Philippines or to corporations, cooperatives, or associations wholly owned and managed by such citizens. This restriction echoes other similar restrictions on ownership in certain countries. So, the article summarizes that it is only the citizens of the Philippines that will hold or will have the management on certain incorporation in a journalism. So I believe that the SEC had really did it right because we should be citizens that abide laws of the Republic of the Philippines. So, I am in favor.
Personally, I do not agree with SEC's decision over Rappler because Rappler is a media entity tasked to deliver the truth, which I believe they never failed to fulfill. This decision is an attack to press freedom, which hopefully not would eventually lead to suppression of our right to information.
Hindi po ako sang-ayon sa ginawang action ng SEC na i-revoke yung license ng Rappler dahil naniniwala ako na nilimit nito yung space ng isang pahayagan para makapaglabas ng critical at unbiased stories. At dahil na rin graduating journalism student ako at future media practitioner na rin, parang natatakot ako na hindi ko ma-pursue yung mismong passion ko na maglabas ng katotohanan at mag-tell ng totoong story sa madla.
Yes, I am in favor of the decision of SEC over Rappler because there is a constitution that abides with it that the media is should be only dominated and controlled by Filipinos. Though that there are other fundamental rights that gives us freedom of expression for the mass media, but still there's a constitution that only says that it should be controlled by Filipinos. So that's it.
Alright, so given my limited knowledge about this issue, and it is only my belief, I believe that I don't agree with their decision because we have our press freedom, and I think that shutting down Rappler is almost like saying that these rights don't matter anymore.
Pharmaceutical company Sanofi Pasteur will refund the government for unused doses of the controversial dengue vaccine Dengvaxia. The Department of Health says the vaccines are expected to be pulled out of their storage soon. Here is our report.
The Department of Health announced that Sanofi Pasteur had agreed to begin pulling out by Friday the unused Dengvaxia in the storage facilities of the agency. DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III made the announcement after the DOH Steering Committee met with Sanofi officials headed by Dr. Joselito Santa Ana. The meeting was also attended by World Health Organization Country Representative Dr. Gundo Whaler. The remaining stocks that will be pulled out as of the latest count is 1.1 million doses of Dengvaxia. Duque said there will be 4 pickup points such as Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, Philippine Children's Medical Center, and regional offices in Region 4A, Region 3, and NCR. He added that the pickup in Region 7 wherein the community-based immunization for dengue was also done as part of the expansion will be probably completed by next week. Duque also welcomed Sanofi Pasteur's move to refund the government 1.4 billion pesos for the unused Dengvaxia doses. The health chief said they have also requested Sanofi to provide test kits to conduct sero testing on children who received Dengvaxia, especially if they had no previous history of infection before receiving it. Meanwhile, Sanofi said that their decision to reimburse the government is not related to any safety or quality issue with Dengvaxia. The pharmaceutical company maintained that despite the negative impression, Dengvaxia's overall benefit remains positive in high endemic countries like the Philippines. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
The Department of Foreign Affairs is appealing for clemency for 9 Filipinos sentenced to death in Malaysia for the Sabah standoff in 2013. The DFA said they are working to get a pardon for the 9 Filipinos from the king. Malaysia's federal court upheld the decision of the Court of Appeals, which meted death on the 9 for waging war against the Yang di Pertuan Agong. 13 other Filipinos involved in the incident were meanwhile acquitted from terrorist-related offenses. The DFA said their immigration papers are being processed. All accused were involved in the armed intrusion at Kampung Tanduo, Lahad Datu from February to April 2013. They were assisted and represented by Datuk Si Juanathan, an International Criminal Court certified lawyer. The Department of Trade and Industry has continued its initiatives to help micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs, increase their presence in digital platform. DTI has partnered with Google Philippines and IPG Media Brands Philippines to promote the use of digital platforms to MSMEs for them to be more competitive and further expand their businesses. DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez also met with Google Philippines Country Manager Kenneth Lingan and IPG MB Chief Executive Director Venus Navalta to discuss other possible areas of cooperation to digitize MSMEs. A nationwide mentoring program to educate MSMEs on the benefits of making their businesses available online has been eyed for future collaboration. DTI and Google Philippines are also eyeing to collaborate in promoting the use of Google My Business to help entrepreneurs become more accessible and searchable online. MSMEs account for 99% of business establishments in the country. At least 7 people died in eastern Visayas due to flooding and landslide caused by heavy rains in the past 4 days. Office of the Civil Defense Regional Director Edgar Posada said that of the 7 fatalities, 4 were from Tacloban City who were killed when a collapsed wall and landslide debris buried them. In Mondragon, Northern Samar, a man driving a motorcycle in a major road was buried by mudslide Saturday noon. In Catarman, a man was electrocuted while wading on floodwater. In Haro Leyte, a man drowned when he was swept away by a strong current as he tried to cross a raging river. Posadas, the head of the Regional Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, was saddened to receive reports of deaths despite the absence of typhoon. He said that concerned agencies and local government units have done their part in disseminating warnings, but some people just ignore weather advisories. He asked people to be cautious not only of typhoons and low-pressure areas, but other weather disturbances as well. Troopers from the 85th Infantry Battalion have captured a new People's Army encampment following a 15-minute firefight in Lopez Town, Quezon. Captain Patrick J.M. Retumban, 2nd Infantry Division spokesperson, said government troops conducted the operations at 10 a.m. after receiving tips from civilians regarding the rebels' extortion racket. He added that military personnel clashed with an estimated 20 rebels led by a certain Kamando who quickly fled after leaving behind their camp. Soldiers recovered a generator set and 3 high-powered firearms. Blood traces were spotted in the camp while no trooper was hurt nor killed in the encounter. Up next, a draft chapter proposes the creation of 5 Philippine states under a federal government. Silang Cavite celebrates its cultural heritage in the annual Sumilang Festival. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns. A draft proposal in the House of Representatives seeks to divide the territory of the future Federal Republic of the Philippines into 5 states. This was among the inputs presented during the deliberation on the salient features of the proposed draft constitution. Based on a draft charter, the 5 states will be composed of Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, Bangsamoro, and Metro Manila. Each state will have a unicameral state assembly with legislative powers and a premier exercising executive powers. State government shall be entitled to at least 50% in the proceeds of the use and development of the national wealth. The proposed federal charter retains the position of the president, who would act as head of state, and introduces the position of a prime minister, who would be the head of the government. The parliament shall consist of the Federal Assembly as the national legislative department and the Senate as the legislative body representative of the regions. These proposals are still subject to further deliberation during the Constituent Assembly proper. The Philippine Institute for Development Studies, or PIDS, urged the government to invest in the productivity growth of the agriculture sector to reduce poverty. PIDS Senior Research Fellow Rolhano Briones said it was imperative to pour money into research and development, innovation, adoption of technology, improved practices and systems, and transport infrastructure. Briones underscored the role of productivity growth of agriculture sector given its key role in reducing poverty. The PIDS paper said the sector share in the gross domestic product plunged to 8.8% in 2016, although still employing as much as 29% of all workers. Its labor productivity was lower relative to that of the other basic sectors. He added that a more inclusive set of policies is needed to secure the participation of agriculture-dependent households in the economy. PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa lauded the construction and the acquisitions of a state-of-the-art equipment for the Regional Crime Laboratory Office 11 in Davao. De La Rosa said the facility of RCLO 11 would cater the forensic needs not only in Davao region but also the rest of Mindanao. The facility would serve the 6 police regional offices in Mindanao. The building was constructed through the Countrywide Development Fund of then-Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. De La Rosa said the RCLO 11 had the same capabilities as Crime Lab in Camp Crame. It has the automatic fingerprint identification system, DNA laboratory, bullet comparison microscopes for firearms identification, among others. President Duterte earlier lauded the construction of the building and the equipment as it would address much of the region's capability gaps. The upgrading of the equipment is part of the 98 million peso capability enhancement budget of the Philippine National Police. Silang Cavite is celebrating its annual Sumilang Festival. This year's festivities will not only be marked by Thanksgiving, but as a way to look back at the town's history and heritage. Here is our report.
One of the acknowledged oldest towns of Cavite, Silang was founded in 1571 with its name derived from the Tagalog word silanganan, although the elderly believed the name was derived from isinilang with what seemed like a miraculous birth of the church at the town center. The Caviteños had long fought for independence against Spanish rule and were deeply rooted to their rich cultural heritage that sparked the town's millennial generation to mark their festivals with the annual Sumilang Festival. The annual fiesta is also observed as a way of thanksgiving for the bountiful fruit harvests and farm products in this primarily agricultural first-class town. The local fiesta on January 22 will kick off with a sunduan, the traditional homage of Our Lady of Candelaria. The town's patroness is noted for the parish edifice complex that showcases the retablo mayor and mayores, or the votive altarpieces that are confirmed as national cultural treasures by the National Museum. Townsfolk are also expected to mark the traditional observance of the 9-day novena, nightly cultural presentation, fiesta ball, costume play competition, and the annual pageants such as the Little Miss Silang pre-pageant, Tawag ng Tanghalan, and the grand finals, and Little Miss Silang Coronation Night. A cultural and heritage forum is set on January 30 that focuses on rerouting the town's cultural heritage, a journey back in time on the town's original traditions and values. A Cavite festival won't be complete without the serenata of the town's various bands and the traditional religious procession of the Caracol. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's headlines. The Department of Justice prepares to review the decision of the Securities and Exchange Commission to revoke Rappler's license. A draft chapter proposes the creation of 5 Philippine states under a federal government. Malaysia orders the death of 9 Filipinos and the acquittal of 13 others involved in the Sabah standoff in 2013. And a bishop calls for prayers as Mayon volcano continues to show unrest. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo. Good day.